works with guys. Anytime you do anything remotely sensitive, heartwarming, anything that's going to make you more of a loving, caring individual, immediately all your guy friends suggest that maybe, just maybe, you want to suck a dick. Oh, it's brutal. Even if you do something smart, right? Like it's raining out, he's got an umbrella. What a fag! Oh my God! What are you, afraid of the water? Put your shoulders up, you fucking homo.
Have you ever gone to an antique store? What the fuck is that? That's basically just a fancier version of the fucking garage sale, right? Because I mean, they never have anything new in there, or else, well, obviously they're not fucking new, dipshit. I mean, you know, they are. It's in a fucking antique store, but all it is just fucking junk that you know, somebody didn't want. Maybe they threw it out in the fucking street, or dropped it off behind the fucking behind the grocery store or some shit, and some fucking jackass drove by and was like, hey, look at that. Is that what he did? Hey. I don't know. The fucking antique collectors are very upbeat in my imagination, but you know, I once dated this girl, this woman, this lady who her parents had like a room in their fucking house that you couldn't go into because it was like their antique room, right? And you know, I took a peek. I didn't go inside. You know, I respected the rules of the fucking house, but it looked like a bunch of old shit that you know, that you'd find at a fucking garage sale. You know, I also had a friend that I back in Boston. His fucking his grandmother owned an antique store, right? And occasionally we'd go in, and you know, I don't know why the fuck we'd go there. He's probably just getting some money or some shit from his grandma. And you know, nothing in the fucking store, like, although she did have like a lot of like old records and shit, you know, how those qualify as fucking antiques, I don't know. You know, I kind of get the feeling that she was like a borderline fucking hoarder. But you know, like, I'd look at this stuff and the fucking price tags on these things were ridiculous, like a beat up fucking what do you call those things that they're usually in the fucking living room, fucking coffee table, right? It was like, I think I saw one in there. It was fucking ugly, and I think she was charging like $1,500 for it. And I don't know. I mean, you know, somebody please enlighten me in the world out there that appreciates antiques. Please explain to me why somebody's old shit, like why some old shit is like coveted, like, oh, this is fucking precious, versus just, you know, like if I put my I don't know, my fucking dining room table out on the fucking street, and so, you know, or if I tried to sell my dining room table, you know, if I called it antique, right? How come I can't sell it for, you know, $2,000? You know, really, is this what you're fucking talking about? Is this the level of your podcast that we can expect? Yeah. On a Thursday, it is the you know, I gave you one podcast on Tuesday, or was it Monday? Maybe it was Monday. I don't know. One of those fucking days. No, I think it was Tuesday. You know, who gives a shit? But, you know, I in that fucking podcast, I said, hey, you know, I'd give you more than the usual number of podcasts, but to not expect too much from it. You know, I don't know why I started thinking about fucking antiques, but, you know, although they did have that show. Like, I did like that one fucking show, right? The hell is it called? Like the Antique Roadshow or whatever, where, you know, people bring in their shit thinking that, oh, you know, I'm gonna fucking strike it rich with this lamp that's been sitting in my fucking addict for like 10 years. My favorite wasn't the people that like actually had, something that was worth shit, but the people that thought they had something that was antique or worth money, and it turns out that it wasn't, but they're in fucking absolute denial about it. I mean, who like, do you take a class? How do you become like an antiques expert? Because the amount of knowledge that guy had about pretty much fucking everything, was mind blowing. I'm still talking about antiques, ain't I? All right, fuck it. Let's move on. This is the effing podcast. For those of you that are new to this podcast, I do a couple of these a week. Usually Tuesdays and Thursdays, although I think this week I actually followed my own schedule. Lately it's been sort of sporadic. But, usually I do it Tuesdays and Thursdays, and, occasionally I'll throw in an extra show, whether it's on Mondays or Wednesdays or Fridays. It really just, if I have some shit to talk about, then I will make a podcast. Granted, sometimes I am stretching it. Like the fact that I, talk to you guys for like 5 minutes about fucking antiques. Sometimes I don't really have shit to fucking say, but I made a promise that I'd give you guys more than the usual this week, since I didn't upload a podcast for like a week and a half or whatever, a week and a half ago. So, you're going to get what you get. This probably, I already feel like I'm flailing. So, most likely this podcast is going to be very fucking short, but, it is what it is. Oh, did anybody hear about well, of course you fucking heard about it. The YouTube shooter, the person that showed up at YouTube. Apparently it was a lady, which is unusual, right? You don't have too many women losing their shit, at least in that regards. If a report came in that like somebody's car got fucking smashed and vandalized, and somebody fucking carved cheater into the side of it, it's like, okay, yeah, that was probably a woman, right? Ladies, can you, I understand, men, we can be assholes. We can we can hurt your feelings unlike worse than anybody on the planet. But can you not destroy fucking somebody's car? Like, if you must get some fucking revenge on the guy, bang his fucking best friend or his brother. I'm sure there's some dude out there that he has always sort of had like a, you better stay away from him sort of a thing. Just go fuck him, and then tell. And tell him about it, or take a fucking picture of you guys, or of you blowing him or some shit. I guarantee you that will hurt him more than fucking up his car. Okay, there's just some things you just don't do. And the same thing goes to the fellas out there that get upset. Of course, you don't always have the same options. We never have the same options that women have as far as the revenge sex, because we actually have to put in some work to have sex with a woman, unless you're a fucking rapist, but that's something, totally fucking different. But, we can't just like, oh, well, you hurt me, well, I'll just go fuck your best friend. Your best friend or her best friend actually has to be interested in you, and at least interested in enough that she doesn't give a shit that she's going to bang her best friend's, ex-boyfriend. It's not so easy for guys to do these things, but still, you shouldn't mess with anybody's car. Okay. That's just fucked up. Okay. I understand you're angry. It would be better if you could just move on and, maybe go to the fucking gym, get in fantastic shape, ladies fucking, I don't know, apparently fucking squats are having ridiculous results on your ass. Go balloon your fucking ass up, get into fantastic fucking shape, and then just show up somewhere, not at his house or anything, but, just run into him and let him know, like, hey, this is what you fucked over, You can do that. Just leave his fucking car alone. But if you can't, obviously it would be best if you did that. But if you absolutely must get revenge, and okay, there's some fucking stipulations here, okay? If he just pissed you off because he didn't want to take you to the fucking ice capades or some shit, okay, don't go out and bang his fucking best friend over this, okay? If you're going to do that sort of, if you're going to have that sort of revenge on him, then he had better have done something worthy of that, all right? Because you are going to totally fucking destroy him psychologically with this. So if you're going to do it, it's kind of a fucking dick move, but if you're going to do it, you gotta reserve it for the really big things, like he fucking cheated on you, or I don't know, I don't fucking know, but it's gotta be big. It can't be like, well, we disagreed on which fucking Netflix series to watch. That's not grounds for doing shit like that. You only bang the best friend or the brother or whatever. Actually, okay, what's worse, right? Okay, well, let me finish that fucking statement, okay? You only do that for when he's majorly fucked up, right? Forgetting your fucking birthday, or you get into an argument about, who's the better fucking driver or some shit. That's not worthy of that. Okay, if you go out and do this sort of thing because of some fucking petty shit, then you're basically just a cunt. Okay, you're an absolute cunt, and he should look at it as, thank God he got away from you, because the kind of person that would do that over something fucking small is not worth the energy, to fucking pursue that shit. But if he really fucks up, right, like he bangs your sister or some shit, then you do this, okay? Now, I said, bang his best friend or his brother, but the problem with those situations is obviously, his brother's not going to stop being his brother, and there's a potential, you could actually end up getting, if you actually give a shit about his best friend or whatever, you could actually end up getting that guy hurt, right? You don't want to do that, because, it's not his fault that your ex did some crazy shit to you. So maybe stay away from the best friend, even though that's definitely one that would fuck with him. I would say probably, if you have other options, the next option is to bang somebody that he works with, and let it be known that you banged him. That will fuck with him, because now he has to spend 8 to 10 hours with this guy that banged his ex-girlfriend. And he's going to be imagining all of the shit that goes on. And the thing is he can't really react, because if he does, he loses his job and possibly his entire fucking well-being. So he's forced to just stew on that shit. That would be the ultimate. But if you don't have that option, like for some reason this guy, I don't know, he owns his own fucking company, or he's a fucking YouTuber, or whatever it is that people do nowadays, where they don't actually have to fucking work with other people, then if you don't have that option, then you start considering the friends or the relatives. But if he works someplace, or even if he's no, you can't do that. I wouldn't say, like, if he's the boss, you don't want to get somebody fired, because he'll fucking do that. So it's got to be either like somebody that's like equal to him, or even better, somebody that's higher up that actually tells him what he can and cannot do. That would fuck with him for a very long fucking time. how did I end up talking about this shit? The fuck, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, the YouTube fucking shooter. Um, yeah, it turns out it was a lady, which is unusual, you know. But like when they released what's the possible motives behind it, I mean, it's fucked up what she did, and I never wish any ill will on anyone. Well, not okay. I'll fucking I'll retract that, because there are some people like every now and then I would like to hear, like if we're gonna be the fucking mass shooting fucking country, every now and then I'd like to hear, shooter goes into fucking government building and fucking shoots a bunch of corrupt politicians, or shooter goes into fucking Goldman Sachs and fucking, shoots a bunch of fucking bankers. Or even better, shooter goes into like a police station and just fucking mows down a bunch of police. Now, before anybody loses their shit and like, oh, blue lives matter and all that fucking bullshit. If you're one of these people that immediately fucking starts sucking the dick of the law enforcement, I get it if you're an actual cop, because, obviously you feel like, oh, how dare you fucking say anything negative about my position. Or, maybe there's people out there that have family that are cops, and, I get how insensitive that could, that can, for me saying that shit can seem to you. But it's of my opinion that there are no good cops. None. Well, okay, let me change that. There are no good cops who are currently still working as police officers. All right. And you might be like, well, hey, wait a minute. Not every cop, shoots unarmed people and gets away with it. Not every cop is racist or whatever it is, right? Not all corrupt, not all cops are fucking corrupt or on the take or whatever. And my response to that would be that if you're still a police officer after the 360, I think we're up to 363 unarmed killings so far this year. We're only 4 months in. If you're still a police officer and you're not fucking advocating that these fucking animals be thrown in fucking prison, or at the very least fucking fired. If you're not doing that, if you're just sort of turning a blind eye to it, then you're not a good fucking person. You're not a good guy. Good people don't work for for companies or whatever where they allow this type of shit to happen. The fact that most police officers feel like, well, I can rely on the fucking blue wall and everybody's going to be quiet, and that, if anybody fucking tells on anybody, you're labeled a rat and you're harassed and most likely fired or given a shit. If you continue to work in an environment like that, then you are part of the fucking problem, and therefore you are a piece of shit. I don't care if you've never fucking done any of those things. The fact that you're still a part of that, the fact that you're not protesting it, that you're not fucking, calling these people out. And don't give me this shit like, oh, well, this is all a fucking surprise. Because 9 times out of 10, whenever it comes out that a police officer had, gunned down an unarmed person, it always comes out that they had some sort of shit on their record. All right. So if you're still working as a police officer, or you have a family member that is still a police officer, just know they're a piece of shit. Okay. I had a friend, right? I had a friend that was a police officer, right? Good guy, fucking awesome guy, fucking, great family man, all of that. As soon as as soon as the unarmed fucking killings sort of ramped up, first thing he did, he fucking quit. Because he didn't want to be a part of that shit. Now he does private security. Gets paid more. Has a better fucking schedule. But, that's the sign of somebody that's a good shit. Alright? He didn't want to be a part of that. So he fucking quit. That's what a good person does. A good person does not continue to fucking carry that gun and wave that fucking badge around and then fucking, lie or remain quiet when somebody is a fucking threat to society. Good people don't do that. So, for those of you that are upset because, I talk trash about the police. Well, you show me an example of police doing the right fucking thing and not just some sort of like puff piece where somebody rescued a fucking kitten or bought somebody a fucking a turkey or some shit. Show me real examples of good police officers that have decided to, I'm not going to be a part of this shit, or I'm going to fucking actively fucking investigate and do everything I can to to stop all this fucking senseless shit. There's only one guy that I know of, and he's an ex police officer. He's a ex Baltimore police. That guy, Michael Wood Jr., I think his name. He's a good shit. He was ex police. He's very outspoken about what exactly is wrong with the way the way society is policed. He's very outspoken about the fucking corruption and the racism and all the other fucking shit. He's a good shit, but he's also not a cop anymore. So if you haven't figured out the theme of what I'm talking about is that, basically good people don't continue to fucking stand behind that shit. So I don't know how the fuck did I end up talking about this. But yeah, going back to the fucking the YouTube shooter, just every now and then I'd like to see one of those fucking stories instead of somebody walks into a fucking high school or a fucking concert or some shit. Like, why? I mean, it's fucking horrific, and I'm not gonna go on and on about gun control or any of that shit, because I think we're all tired of fucking discussing that at this point. But why is it that whenever somebody loses their shit with a fucking gun, they never point it at the right fucking people? Now, technically, they shouldn't be fucking pointed at anyone. But if you absolutely must lose your shit with a fucking weapon, can you direct it at the people that are actually responsible for the problems in this fucking country? The politicians, no, you know what? I take that back, because it sounds like I'm advocating for fucking violence, and I'm not. I'm not advocating for that shit. You really should not be solving any sort of fucking issue, anxiety, whatever you have with a fucking gun or any sort of fucking weapon. But it boggles my mind why every single time it's never at people that you'd like, yeah, thank God they fucking did that, or not really thank God, but like I could understand it, like maybe somebody during the housing crisis, right, that had owned their house for 30 fucking years, and thanks to these corrupt fucking bankers ended up in foreclosure and got their house taken. I would understand that person going to fucking Goldman Sachs or whatever, fucking Citigroup or whatever, and just unloading on people. Now, granted, there's going to be a lot of fucking, innocent people that are going to get hurt and caught up that were just doing their fucking job. But it would be understandable. It would still be fucking tragic. It wouldn't be like I'd be over here fucking applauding it. But I could understand that shit. But why you're gonna take your fucking issues out on people enjoying fucking music or people trying to learn, or people at a fucking club, just having a good fucking time. I don't get that shit. I hope that I don't have anybody that's like fucking, it's just taking this as fucking suggestions. I am just fucking around here for the comedic value, which I know it doesn't sound like comedy. It sounds like I'm fucking serious. So, I gotta put what's that shit? Not spoiler, the disclaimer, I'm just fucking around. Wink. Oh, God. I really fucking dug myself into a hole there. But yeah, fucking, fucking people and their guns. Does anybody find, have I turned into fucking Jerry Seinfeld over here? What's the deal with fucking GPS? Does anybody find fucking GPS just a little bit fucking creepy? I was using it the other day. I was trying to find in fact, last week, because I had to actually go into work instead of being able to work from home. I was trying to find a fucking faster route to work and from work, right? Because it was just the fucking traffic is brutal. And, I just, I typed in the fucking address that I'm trying to get to, and it like instantly it knew where the fuck I was. It knew every every fucking like it was like, oh, there's a crash fucking 6 miles away that's causing a fucking delay. And it's like, how do you even know where the fuck I'm going, right? I mean, where I'm going because I put the fucking address in. I understand that, but like, how do you know that I'm gonna go your suggested route? And let's be realistic here. Why would you direct me towards a fucking accident anyway? And how do you know that it's only a 6-minute delay, right? Because actually, I think that's kind of a rhetorical question, because I understand how they, or at least I think I understand. I could be completely fucking wrong here, and that wouldn't be too far fetched that that I'd say some stupid shit on this podcast. But I assume that the way that they can predict how long it's going to take to get past this fucking this accident is because they're using other fucking drivers' information on the road, right? That they're looking like, okay, there's somebody that was in your position 6 or fucking 10 minutes ago. They were where you're at. They're now past the fucking accident, so it took them roughly 6 minutes to get past that shit. So they're basically just telling me other people's fucking locations without actually fucking doing it, right? Am I the only one that finds that just a little bit fucking creepy, right? Like, I'm almost, I've said it plenty of times on this podcast that, once my phone shits the bed, I'm done with cell phones. And the more I fucking think about shit like that, like with fucking GPS and all that stuff, the more I cannot fucking wait for this phone to break. I'm not going to, it would be simple for me to just fucking throw it on the ground and stomp on it or some shit and just, do it on purpose. But, I'm not I'm not frugal, but I'm not going to fucking waste money. This phone cost me a lot of fucking money. I'm not going to do that. So, when it shits the bed, that's what I can't fucking wait, because, for those of you that have never experienced what it's, or not never, but that haven't experienced being without your phone for like a week, I highly fucking recommend it, because this is how I know, or why I'm so excited to to be done with fucking phones, aside from the fact that they're invasive as fuck, right? But I don't know, like a year or two ago, I had a phone. And it shit the fucking bed. Like, I had bought it, and like within like a week and a half, there was something fucking wrong with it. Or wait, was it a week and a half? I don't know. Maybe a little bit longer. Maybe a little more, like a month or so. Right? And I had to bring it in, and they're like, oh, we'll fix it for you. And I thought at first they were gonna give me like sort of a replacement phone, while I waited or not while I waited, but while they had my phone, because it was gonna take like a few days or whatever, right? But they didn't. They were just like, you're just pretty much out without a phone for a week. So the first day was rough, right? Because you're so used to just being connected to everything, and used to everybody being connected to you, right? If people wanted to fucking call you, they can call you no matter where you're at, whether you're at home or on the fucking road or at a restaurant or taking a shit. It's weird, the things that we have become just accustomed to, right? That this invasive, I was young before, I don't know, I experienced a little bit of the era where fucking, there weren't cell phones, or if there were cell phones, only like fucking doctors and drug dealers fucking had them. Not everybody had it, people had fucking pagers and shit, but, where was I going with this? I don't know. I fucking lost my train of thought there, but the first day that I was without my phone, it was fucking brutal, But then the next day, I felt fucking free, And the entire week, it felt great to not be connected to fucking everybody and everything. It gave me somewhat of a break from like Twitter. It fucking, it was a relief. Now the only thing that kind of, was freaking me out is because like, oh, well, what if something, happens to my kids and the school's trying to get a hold of me and I don't have that ability. But then you got to remember, well, you know what? Our parents managed to do that. It's not like, it's not like your parent is going to forget that they have a fucking kid, right? If you go to pick them up and they're not fucking there, assuming that that the school hasn't been able to get in contact with you at all, you're going to be like, well, what the fuck? Where's my kid? And you're going to talk to somebody in the office and they're going to be like, well, we've been trying to fucking, get a hold of you. He's been taken to the fucking hospital or whatever. They managed to do it just fine, for fucking hundreds of years, right? Well, maybe not hundreds of years. I don't know, like 200 years or so. They've managed to fucking do it. So, I can do it again. And the reality is at this point, they have so many different fucking, in case of emergency numbers that they could call, that the possibility that they're not going to get a hold of anyone is slim to fucking none. So I think I can do it. I think I can fucking cut the fucking strings, cut the wires. I don't know. What the fuck am I talking about? How did I end up talking about this? Oh, I was talking about how GPS is fucking creepy. But yeah, I was on my fucking, you know what I can't fucking stand? Fucking people, luckily I only had to go in for like a week, right? But it was enough, and by going in, I mean go to fucking drive into work, commute and shit instead of working from home. But it was enough. It was enough time to remind me just how fucking horrific commuting is. And the thing that drives me up the fucking wall are people that during fucking rush hour, whether it be in the morning or in the fucking evening, that are in no fucking hurry to get to wherever the fuck they're going. If it doesn't matter what time you get to wherever the fuck you're going, get off the goddamn road. Get off. Just stay home until about 9:30, 10 o'clock. Then go do whatever the fuck it is that you want to do. Like I was, who's the fucking worst is the fucking bicyclists. I can't fucking stand bicyclists. I was going to work, like I was almost there. right? And then some fucking bicyclist with his fucking spandex and, pretending like he's on the Tour de fucking France. He pulls out into the middle of the fucking street and proceeds to ride his bike down the middle for like 2 blocks, right? Just completely just not giving a fuck that cars are behind him, And unfortunately, it's just like, it's just a fucking 2-lane street, right? Traffic going one way, traffic going the other, and I couldn't go around him. And he just would not fucking move. And it's like, okay, you fuckers that ride your bikes everywhere. I know you're trying to be green, you're trying to cause less pollution, and you're the first to fucking piss and moan when about sharing the fucking road, right, with people in their cars and shit. But you're also the first to just act like absolute fucking twats on the fucking road. He could have pulled over or not pulled over, but he could have moved over, right? There was a fucking bike lane, but he decided, no, I'm going to ride down the middle of the fucking road. And, I honked at him and he just sort of like fucking shrugged his shoulders. And, it's just, if there was ever a time in my life where I just, the fucking murderous thoughts that were going through my head, like I just envision myself just flooring it and fucking sending, just slamming in the back of that fucking guy. And I hope his fucking, like it'd be like on the movies where he lands on my fucking hood and I'm still driving and his fucking bike is underneath my car and I fucking crush it and he's freaking out holding on to my fucking windshield wipers and, and then I do like a fucking, like a skid. I do like a 360 fucking skid and he goes flying through the fucking air and he goes through like a fucking storefront window, that, like, those are the types of fucking thoughts that I would have. And if I wasn't, if I was a fucking maniac, that's exactly what I would fucking do. The guy is lucky that, I'm able to contain my, my fucking maniacery, right? I'm making up words. Yes, that's what I'm doing. But, he's lucky that I was able to do that because, I don't know. Like when like you want to know what sort of fucking, what sort of psycho you're listening to here. Like when I had my first car, right? My very first car that I bought, it was a 67 Mercury Cougar. I fucking loved that car. It was a piece of shit, but I fucking loved it because it was so fucking, like everybody was driving, at least fucking, the people I went to like high school with or whatever, everybody was into like fucking muscle cars and shit, right? So, naturally they were like, okay, or not really muscle cars, but the fucking classics and shit. And of course, like a bunch fucking like the Impalas, and there was tons of people fucking driving Mustangs and, Camaros or whatever. I wanted the fucking Cougar because, it was just a fucking beast of a fucking car. And it wasn't what everybody else had, right? That was like kind of like my main focus, and it still is now. I don't like having the same shit that everybody else has. But I got this fucking car and I got it running and it was a piece of shit. It was an absolute piece of shit that fucking broke down on me regularly. It had like the brakes were fucking I don't want to say they were non-existent, but let's just put it like this. If somebody were to run out in front of me, there's no fucking way I'd be able to stop. It just, it took a series of fucking pumping the brakes and all sorts of shit to really get the car to fucking stop. So, it was always a danger for anybody to run out in front of the car or fucking pull out in front of me or whatever, right? So, I'd be going back and forth to work during this time, and it seemed like every time I was coming home, there would be this fucking, I don't know, this old fucking cunt in her big ass, like, Oldsmobile, but it's, it's not like, it's beyond the time when they stopped building fucking cars out of metal and they started with all the fiberglass shit. So, she's driving this big ass fucking boat, and it seemed like every single time that I'd be coming home, she'd be coming the opposite direction, and she'd make a fucking left into into a fucking, driveway or whatever, right? She'd do it every fucking time, right? And and every single time I'd have that, like, oh fuck, because she would do it at the last fucking moment, and I already know I'm not gonna be able to fucking brake, right? And she just, like, it happened like 3 or 4 fucking times, and it got to the point where I would just, I would have a fantasy where, I'd be coming down the road and I'd see her fucking coming, and I'd see her fucking turn, and I would just fucking gun it and just plow right through the fucking middle of her fucking car. Man, I guess it's a good thing I'm fucking medicated, right? Because I don't know. Anyway, I think I'm gonna end it here. I'm just fucking rambling at this point. I actually ended up talking longer than I fucking thought. At least longer than the podcast I did on Monday or Tuesday. But anyway, so I know I promised everybody more than 2 this week, so obviously I've got to come back and give you another podcast tomorrow at some point. So maybe I'll save. I don't. It's not like I do actually have shit that I could talk about. Does anybody want to hear the list of things? Because, every now and then I'm like, okay, I want to talk about this shit, and I'll write it down, but I never fucking, well, occasionally I fucking bring it up on the podcast, but usually I just get on here and sort of fire from the hips. But does anybody want to hear some of the shit that I write down? I've got, why is Scientology laughed at and considered evil for holding people hostage, but priests fucking kids is like, nah, no biggie. What? Oh, some of these things are fucking horrific. GMO kids, I don't even know what I was thinking there. Genetically modified fucking kids. Money is like shit if you pile it up. And this is a quote from Thornton Wilder. It says, money is like shit if you pile it up and let it sit, it stinks, but if you spread it around, it creates growth. It's a pretty good fucking quote, right? Old tough guys. I can't shit if a girl's in the room, but okay with my son being in the room. Fat chick that Usher banged, and John Benet Ramsey. I think I talked about that shit. Fast forward friendship and Seinfeld. What the fuck was I thinking about there? Is Mila Kunis actually hot? Why I'm no longer that mad at the tribalism. Vegas is overrated. Toothy smiles. My info. I don't know. You guys don't want to hear it. It bored me fucking about 3 seconds after I fucking started. So yeah, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. I will, I'll give you guys another one tomorrow. Hopefully it's, a little bit more fucking upbeat. My apologies if I offended anybody that's a police officer or has a family member that is a police officer. I mean, I feel the way that I feel, but, I shouldn't fucking come on here and berate you for doing whatever it is that you choose to do. So my apologies. But, yeah, so I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. I hope you're having a good week. It is, it's Thursday, right? Yeah, it is fucking Thursday, so, you got one more fucking day, and then it's the weekend, unless you work at, like, 7-Eleven and shit, so, chances are you probably have to work Saturday or Sunday or whatever. But, or if you own your own business, right? Because technically you're never, if you own your own business, you technically never have a day off. You could be away from the business, you can be away from the office or whatever, but you're technically always on duty. But yeah. I'm just gonna shut the fuck up. All right, I'm out of here. Just like always, don't take any shit and go fuck yourself. Peace.